What's going on, guys? If you watched the video before this from the cliffs, my machine had some issues and I still don't know everything yet. In that video, I think I mentioned that for sure my front driver's side bearing is toast, completely checked out, catastrophic failure. I know that for sure, but today we're gonna tear it apart and see what else I broke. Hopefully it's just the bearing. I really do not want to be making this video. We're less than 3 weeks away from going to Windrock, which is going to be our biggest trip of the year, so this is not exactly what I want to be doing, or should be doing. In fact, I shouldn't even be making a video today, I should be editing. But that's not how things went. So, we broke it. We got to figure out exactly what we broke, and then hopefully we can get parts and get it back together before Windrock, because I really do not want to sit passenger the whole trip. We're going to be there for 10 days, so that would be super disappointing. The only plus side about this is I would have rather had the bearing fail at a park closer to home. If this would have happened the first day of Windrock, I would have been pissed. So let's take a look at what we're dealing with. I haven't taken it apart yet, so I'm not 100% sure yet. One thing I know for sure is that's not good. I did see that the axle has been rubbing up against the knuckle, and that's the part I'm kind of worried about. Not what you like to see. This is gonna be bad. Well, so far, I'm gonna have to clean this up better, but it's not looking good for the hub. This OD just, I think it's everything's, yeah. I'd say the hub's probably cooked. There's all kinds of parts falling out of this. Just parts of bearing. Oh, not good, not good. It's all trash.
4 to 6 more days later.
Alright guys, we're gonna pick this video up a week later. I didn't film much after that, and I didn't really want to, and maybe I had a little bit more, but honestly I was giving off the vibe that someone just shit my Cheerios, and someone kind of did, and that someone is me. I was just bummed out because, you know, at that point we were less than 3 weeks away from Windrock, and as I look at the parts, I'm realizing that there's a solid chance that my machine's not going to make it to Windrock, and that bums me out. I'll go over a little more of what happened and what I'm doing about it. You know, so the bearing definitely failed. I looked at some of the parts. I think these are parts of the seal, and I mean, it's just tore up. Unfortunately, a lot of this evidence doesn't really tell much of a story. I've got pieces of the inner race. That's the only thing I can kind of tell for sure, is the inner race came apart. How, why, I don't know. I looked at some of the parts that were floating, like the inner race. You can see that it has no heat discoloration. The balls that I was able to find, they are imprinted from jiggling around on the hub and not running in the race that obviously fell apart. but nothing has any heat discoloration. So as to why the inner race blew apart, I don't know.
I don't know.
I've been having issues with the front bearings since I've gotten the machine. That particular bearing, because of needing to get parts for previous trips, it's a bearing. It's a super ATV bearing. This is the first one that grenaded like this and just left the planet, but I don't know, man. It may just be you get what you pay for. It had like 300 miles on it, so it really doesn't make sense. It shouldn't do that, but it did. Probably not going to be using any wearable parts from Super ATV anymore. I'm kind of learning my lesson here. The knuckle was going to be the biggest issue. I mean, you can still see parts of the retaining ring in there. Again, nothing has heat discoloration. It's just all tore up from the axle flopping around. And then it's a little bit cleaned up now, but you can see all the rogue bearings that were sloshing around in there imprinted on this fit and on the face, making this part junk. Last week when I took it all apart and was filming, if I put the right music to it, it would probably look like a soap opera because I was upset. But after that, and I stopped filming, I went inside and started looking for parts. I quickly realized that the knuckle is on back order. This guy here. And my first thought was to buy knuckles from a 21, just replace both, because the 21 and up does not use this aluminum knuckle, because these aluminum knuckles seem to be part of the issue with not holding the bearing tight. Those are on back order as well. That was going to be my biggest hurdle, was finding the knuckle, and I was fine with just getting one knuckle, just a replacement aluminum one for now, to get me on the road to Windrock. After Windrock, I might address this issue further and look into getting some of the steel knuckles from a 21. And hopefully that resolves my bearing issues. Hopefully. Luckily, my old buddy, eBay, I found a used knuckle. And it was this clean. It's obviously used, but it looked to be in good condition. I didn't have much of an option. I think there were a couple others. Some were used and the same price as a new one. This one was 150 bucks, and I want to say it's like 280 or 250 or something for a new one. Without having much options, I just went with this, got it here. The hub I was able to get, Rocky Mountain ATV, in stock. That's this guy here. This is just my factory rotor that I took off, and the studs were still in good condition, so I pressed them out, pressed them in here, and that's what it's supposed to look like on that fit, as opposed to that. So this was an easy find. The next thing was the bearings. I was pretty close to just putting another set of Super ATV bearings in, because I'm an idiot.
Are you stupid or something?
But relax, I did not. I pretty much had it down. I wanted to replace all 4 bearings because I'm kind of sick of it. I did some research on my own. I reached out to you guys on Facebook a bit to see what everyone's running, and it came down to 2 options: Kryptonite and the Polaris heavy duty bearings, the ones that are made in Japan. When I reached out for advice, I had already ordered the Polaris heavy duty ones. These guys here, if you're having bearing issues and this is something you're looking for, part number on this is 3515090. But I wanted to see what all you guys are running too, because this might not be my final setup. The Kryptonite I did consider, but it looked like the lead time on those was too long. I need this now. and Rocky Mountain ATV had the heavy duty ones in, and I'm like, I'm a heavy duty boy, so we'll go with that. So I got 4 of those. I got 2 here for the fronts. I got the rears on the way. And I've already got it pressed in the new knuckle. The other side's already on. So I just kind of have to put the fronts back together and tear the rear apart. And when they come in, press them in, put it back together. And we should be good to go. I still had a lot of on my list that I'm probably not going to get to. Sometimes you gotta play the hand you're dealt, and this is what I was dealt.
346 minutes later.
Got the front end all back together. Great. So then I was gonna pull the ass end apart so I can pull the old bearings. When the new ones come in, I put them in, right? Yep. Well, it didn't work out that way. I found a bunch of huge rocks jammed up in the driver's side rear, and it looks like it just nicked up the rim, but I don't know from burying it. I don't know what happened, but when I pulled the driver's side apart, the axle was no longer together near the transmission. And on top of that, I couldn't get the hub out of the bearing or off that end of the axle. Ultimately, I had to pull the passenger side axle off and then jam a rod through there and hit the axle out that was still connected to the knuckle and the hub assembly, because all that was seized together too. So once I had that off, I put a puller on it, stripped the puller. I was beating on the thing, all the wheel studs were falling out from hitting it, and then I decided to cut the boot on the broken side of the axle, and I used a hydraulic press to press it out. But then the hub was stuck in the bearing, and I was able to use a hammer and a brass punch. I got part of that out. Then the inner race of the bearing was stuck to the hub and had to use a little heat and pry it off. Don't really have time for this, but it is what it is. I had already finished this video and, you know, said it's easy from here on out. See you at Windrock, and yeah. Now I gotta see if I can find an axle.
4 to 6 more days later.
Alright guys, hopefully this is it. I got my machine back together. So there's a few things that I did not mention that I found that were wrong with my machine. Driver's side, front and rear, the brake pads were bent. I thought I found all the damage on the front, but I guess I didn't. I got a bent brake pad. Damn it. I don't know. Maybe all the crap got jammed in there, bent them. Who knows? The rears were almost metal on metal, so I replaced the rears. We're out of time, so I just bent the front one back and put it back together. Sorry that this video is all over the place. It's been a crazy couple weeks. I think I've gotten a package from Rocky Mountain ATV every day for the last 2 weeks, because every time I fix something, I find something else broken or another issue I have to address, and I'm hoping that's it. It has to be it, because we're out of time. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video, because once I stop recording, I got to take my ass inside and edit this and upload it for tomorrow. If you haven't yet, hit that little subscribe button, beep, bop, boop, boop. Hit that little like button, beep, bop, boop, boop. And thank you for watching. And the next time I see you, we will be on the road to Tennessee with all 3 machines. It got pretty dicey there for a second, multiple times. But I think we're good enough to go. So I'm going to go edit, and I will see you when we are driving to Tennessee. Peace!